Okay, hello everybody. My name is Mark. This is Why I Hate the World. My peoples, where you at? Lots of stuff to talk about today in the world. First thing we're gonna start on is we need to talk about Kamala Harris. Specifically, we need to talk about the right-wing MAGA chud's reaction to Kamala Harris stepping up and taking the Democratic presidential nominee, because they're not having a very good time with it. They seem to be losing their freaking minds over it. And it's really apparent that the Trump people specifically, but not just them, kind of the right-wing eco-media sphere in general was really not prepared for Joe Biden to drop and Kamala Harris to take over. It really looks like they had all of their eggs in one basket and were running against Joe Biden and had plenty of the, attacks ready where like, oh, he's old and he's going senile and he's losing his marbles, blah, 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 blah. Seems like that's how they really wanted to run it, even though Donald Trump is kind of showing those exact same problems cognitively himself in many ways. And the fact that he dropped out and Kamala took over really threw them for a loop because, number one, now Donald Trump is the old doddering fool candidate who's starting to go senile, and he is. He definitely is. I mean, the man slurs his speech, he forgets who he's talking to, he misnames people. He's kind of on his way out, and, the man's, 78 now, 77? So, you can't blame him. This shit just happens when you get old. That's the first thing. Second thing, they were just seemingly not prepared with any kind of strategy to take on Kamala Harris. And you think that they would, right? You would think that, hey, if you're a political consultant, that you would have done some opposition research. Because it's not like people have been just recently calling for Joe Biden to drop out, This is a thing for at least a year. People in the Democratic Party have been saying, hey, Joe Biden, you're getting a little up there. Maybe it's time to step down. At least a year. I mean, we've had revolts on the Democratic side. You had people like Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks running. Cenk wasn't even born in America. Like, he's not even, he doesn't even fit the qualifications according to the Constitution. He's not a natural born citizen. And he ran anyway just to bring attention to the fact that Joe Biden is not cognitively fit. So it's not like this is a thing that all of a sudden they should be blindsided with. And honestly, if Joe Biden were to drop out, who do you think was supposed to take over? I mean, she's the vice president. When we voted for Joe Biden in 2020, we also voted for Kamala Harris. And that's the first line of attack they took because they're kind of grasping at straws right now. The MAGA people, the Trump people, the right wing in this country, they're really grasping at straws, trying to find some reason to convince us that Kamala Harris is not qualified. And the first thing that they're trying to say is that, well, people voted for Joe Biden. We already had our primaries, stuff like that, and they didn't vote for Kamala Harris, they voted for Joe Biden. And that's BS. That's bullshit. Because Joe Biden was already old and, frankly, pretty feeble in 2020. I mean, that was only 3.5 years ago. So he was Donald Trump's age in 2020 right now, 78. And he was already kind of showing a little bit of decline, and people voted for him anyway. Part of the reason why they voted for him was because he had Kamala Harris as a VP. And when you vote for someone, when you vote for a president and they have a vice president, you have to take the vice president into account. I mean, the thing is, I know people don't. Apparently the MAGA people don't. Apparently the MAGA people don't give a shit who the fucking vice president is. Although they seem to be giving a shit this time because they really hate J.D. Vance. That's one of the things you need to consider. You need to consider, well, hey, what if the president dies in a plane crash? What if he has a heart attack? What if some right-wing maniac shoots him? This last assassination attempt against Trump, that was a right-wing maniac. That was a Trump person. That was a Republican who tried to kill Trump. You got to think, what happens if they're successful? What happens if this person, for whatever, or just what happens if they just get sick and they die? What if they catch COVID, something like that, and they die? Whatever reason. You got to think, well, the vice president is going to step up and become the president, and that's part of the ticket that you vote for. That's the thing, you know, the presidential race, it's a ticket. It's not just one person. You're voting for both. This was the objection when Sarah Palin was tapped to be John McCain's running mate in 2008. Lots of people stood up, and there were like YouTube videos and commercials and stuff basically saying she's not ready, she's not fit. You got to think about that kind of thing when you vote. So no, we thought about it in 2020. The Democratic Party, everybody who voted for Joe Biden, we thought about it. We thought about what if Kamala Harris becomes president because Joe Biden just dies for whatever reason. And we were cool with that. And the same people who voted for Joe Biden in the primaries this year were cool with that too. So that's a bullshit line of attack right there. It's like, no, man. And that's the other thing that they're trying to say. They're trying to say that Kamala Harris isn't qualified. She's the most qualified person on earth right now. She's the current vice president. She's actually there essentially in the administration, seeing everything that's going on right now, keeping track. I mean, do you really think the vice president does nothing? Here's the thing. The vice president used to do nothing until the Republicans made the office of the vice president a lot more important. Starting with George W. Bush, the vice president started getting a lot more responsibility. But it really picked up during the Trump years. I mean, if you guys think Donald Trump was actually doing all of the work of being the president, no. No. I'm sorry, but cold reality needs to throw some water in your face. Mike Pence was doing the actual work for Donald Trump as the president. Donald Trump was showing up, going to speeches, and signing shit. And that's it. And like meeting with Putin and stuff and throwing away his notes afterwards. Mike Pence was the one actually researching things, actually making the decisions as to like, you know, which way we should go. And then doing his best to convince Trump to like go that way, and then Trump would just not do it. That's what actually was going on there. Like the actual person staying up late at night working was Mike Pence. Do you think Donald Trump actually put effort into being the president? Fuck no, he didn't. You know why? Because he's a rich asshole, and his entire life he's never had to put any effort into anything because he's always been super rich and he's always gotten everything he's ever wanted. You think he's going to start working hard now? How many days did Trump leave and knock back a couple of fucking balls on the green after that? Donald Trump has like the world record for presidents as far as like how many days spent on the golf course. You know what? We're going to look that up because I don't want to just be talking out of my ass. Let's look up here. Donald Trump time spent golfing. I mean, the man owns golf courses for fuck's sake. Let's see. According to Wikipedia, Trump visited a Trump Organization property on 428 of the 1,461 days of his presidency, and is estimated to have played 261 rounds of golf, one every 5.6 days. That's the very first result there from Wikipedia. That's more than a fucking year. 428 days playing fucking golf? Are you serious? So don't tell me that he's out there like working hard, being the president, staying up late at night. No, he wasn't doing that shit. He was like just fucking sitting there, make a few comments to the cameras, tweet a little bit about Rosie fucking McDonald or whatever the fuck he was tweeting about, make fun of some people on Twitter, and then like go and knock it back a couple of fucking balls on the green. Like, no, that's what rich, lazy assholes like Donald Trump do. Donald Trump is like the idle rich. He employs people to make him money. He doesn't actually make the money himself. And that's why every time it looks like Trump has to actually do work, he looks like he's pissed off. You ever notice that? If you go back through the Trump years and you look at like state functions and stuff like that, you can tell when he didn't want to be there. Right? Just look at his fucking face. He's always got this scowl. It's like, I don't want to be here. He wants to be playing golf. It's like, well, that's what you get for fucking running for president, you fucking asshole. So don't tell me that Kamala Harris is not qualified to be the president. She's like the most fucking qualified person currently on Earth right now to be the president. A load of fucking shit. So since they can't go that route, they're starting to revive all kinds of just weird attacks because they don't have shit against her. Like, for example, birtherism. Birtherism is back, folks. This is from Laura Loomer. Let's go ahead and read it. And this is a copy of Kamala Harris's birth certificate at Yashar, which proves she is not black. See Kamala Harris's birth certificate below, which I have obtained. And if you look, it actually says on the birth certificate that her race is like Indian. Or I'm not going to zoom in on that, but you can see it, because if I try to zoom in, it's Reddit, and it's going to get all fucked up. But that's what they're doing. They're dusting off birtherism because they don't have a sufficient attack against her. These other people are basically saying that she's not an American citizen either, because like one of her parents wasn't a natural born citizen or something like that, and so they're trying to finagle it, trying to say that this disqualifies her, which is a load of fucking shit too. It really proves that they don't have anything. Just making shit up, folks. Kamala would be a baby-killing authoritarian feminist. This is a quote from Donald Trump. If Kamala Harris has her way, they will have a federal law for abortion to rip the baby out of the womb in the 8th or 9th month. Even after birth, execute the baby after birth. The former governor of Virginia said, after the baby is born, we'll sit with the mother and we'll discuss what to do with the baby. If you want, we'll execute the baby. They want to pass laws to that effect. That was Donald Trump saying that. It's, of course, complete, unhinged, wild bullshit that has no basis in fucking reality. But this just shows how far they're going digging for an attack here. Because they don't really have anything, because they were not prepared for Kamala Harris to actually be the candidate. This is from Dallas Woodhouse. She will take my plastic straw out of my cold, dead hands. Let's go ahead and watch this little clip from CNN.
Leaders have to lead, and
plastic straws
adapt.
are a big thing right now.
Yeah.
Do you ban plastic straws?
I think we should. Yes. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. It's really difficult to drink out of a paper straw when if you're just, like, if you don't gulp it down immediately, it starts to bend.
Yes.
And then, the little thing catches it. And then, so we got to kind of perfect that one a little bit more.
So you'd ban it, but rely on innovation.
I mean, we got it. Yeah, innovation is a process, right? You don't just do it. Innovation is a process, but let's encourage innovation, and I think we could do a little bit better than some of those flimsy plastic straws. But we do need to ban the plastic.
All right, we're gonna have much.
You know what? I agree. We do need to ban plastic straws. You know why? Because it's litter that goes into the ocean and it screws up all the marine life. Like, go on YouTube right now and do a couple of searches. You'll find videos of people finding sea turtles who are choked to death on plastic straws. Guys who go around and, they pull the straw out of the sea turtle's nose or whatever because it's, dying. People don't understand that your garbage ends up in the environment. And right now there's, a continent-sized patch of plastic garbage in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, just wreaking havoc on the local fucking wildlife. And one of those things are single-use straws. Think about that. Think about it's a plastic straw that you use once. You use it and then you toss it out. You've only used it once in your entire life, and then it stays there forever. It stays in the ocean, it biodegrades after 40,000 years. So essentially forever, for all intents and purposes, it stays in the ocean for the rest of your life and the rest of all of your immediate ancestors' lives. How incredibly wasteful is that? Why are we doing that? And how easy would it be just to have a biodegradable straw, whether it's made out of paper? There is also biodegradable plastic, which we have here in California because, we banned plastic straws a long time ago, even though you apparently can still get them. I mean, it seems to be like a ban that they don't enforce very well, because 9 places out of 10 that I go, that they still give you plastic straws. But still, it's still a thing where it's they're at least trying to do something about it. Here's a thing that conservatives and stuff, they always say. They always treat environmentalism like it's a problem that can be solved with personal choices. As in, all of you have to do to solve it is just live your life according to an environmentally clean way. Drive an electric car, recycle your garbage, stuff like that. Get solar panels on your house, and that kind of thing. Cut down on your waste, and then it'll just be solved. And so if everybody does that, it'll be solved. Well, here's the problem. You need every single person to do it, and it just doesn't happen. because people won't do it unless they have incentives, unless they're forced to. You know, and when I say forced, I don't mean like putting a gun to someone's head and forcing them. You give them incentives in order to do it. You give them tax breaks to get solar panels, for example. You give them a tax break to get an electric car, right? And when it comes to shit like litter, like single-use plastic straws, you just don't have those in the first place. There's no reason to have them. Yeah, okay, have a paper straw. What the hell? Like here, I'll go to like a Burger King or something, and they'll have like really thick paper straws. And, you know, if you drink your drink within like an hour, it's fine. If you let it sit there for like all day and shit, yeah, it gets soggy. Right? But it's like, well, fucking drink your fucking shit down. Like, I mean, this is what I don't get. Just a little bit of inconvenience is like a small price to pay to have a healthy environment. But not according to the conservatives, not according to the MAGA people. The title of that post that I just showed you there was "You Can Pull My Plastic Straw Out of My Dead Cold Hands." That's what the title of that post was. Someone was so fucking offended over plastic fucking straws that the fact that we're going to like do something in order to actually help the environment that would slightly inconvenience you in the most little itty-bitty way, that they're like basically daring you to do it. You'll have to kill me first. It's absolutely, it's weird. Yeah, if you're wondering out there, folks, why we're calling the conservatives and the MAGA people and the Republicans and the evangelical right-wing Christians, why we're calling all of you assholes weird, it's because it is. It's because it's weird to like get fired up over stupid shit like that. It reminds me a lot, you know, there's a bit of a tangent. It reminds me a lot of when seatbelts became a thing. A lot of you kids watching this are going to be too young to remember that. There was a time when cars didn't have seatbelts. And it was when I was very young that they actually started passing laws saying that you have to wear a seatbelt or else you get ticketed. And the pushback there was, it really reminds me of this. The pushback was just nuts. People, you know, I will never wear a seatbelt, blah, blah, blah. And you notice that nobody complains about that anymore, right? Nobody's like out there protesting that you have to wear seatbelts. It's because all the people who like were protesting that you don't have to wear I'm never going to wear a seatbelt. All of those people are dead because they all died in car accidents. It really reminds me of that. It's just the difference is that instead of them just dying because they're too stupid to wear a seatbelt, the entire fucking earth is going to die because they're too stupid to like use a fucking paper straw. That's what's going to fucking happen. Richard Hudson, reminder, Kamala Harris is open to allowing convicted rapists, murderers on death row vote from jail. Let's see what she has to say.
Take it seriously.
But people who are convicted in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, on death row, people who are convicted of sexual assault, they should be able to vote?
I think we should have that conversation.
And you know something? I agree. We should have that conversation. Makes me want to vote for her more. This is awesome. I mean, I don't see how this is an attack against Kamala Harris. Why can't you vote if you're convicted of a crime? Where does it say that in the Constitution? It doesn't. The reason why you can't vote when you are convicted of a crime is because they don't want minorities voting. That's why. That's the reason. The reason why you can't vote if you're convicted of a felony is because states don't want minorities to vote. And this is why it's really hard to get your voting rights back in the South. In certain other states, like in California, there's a process at least. It's like, okay, yeah, you lose your enfranchisement, but there's a process. And eventually you get it back. In some states, like I think it's Texas, I believe, and like Kentucky, you never get it back. Once you get convicted of a felony or whatever, you just never can vote again, ever again. And then if you look in those states, it's like, well, why did they do that? It's because they want to disenfranchise black people. That's why. It's basically the plantation to the fucking prison pipeline. It's bullshit. I think we should have that conversation. I think that non-violent offenders should be allowed to vote. I think if you just like got caught doing something like, I don't know, check fraud or something like that, you know, or you get caught stealing a car or whatever, and you're not like a rapist or a murderer, I think you should be allowed to vote because you're not going to be in prison forever. If you're like a non-violent offender, you're probably going to get out within 10 years or whatever, something like that. And you're going to want to rejoin society. And I don't see why we should alienate you from society like that. At the very least, if you can't vote in prison, the minute you get out of prison, you should be allowed to vote. And I think that applies even to rapists and murderers. It does, because if you go to prison and then you get out, once you're out of prison, you should have paid your debt to society. That's what prison is. Prison is the punishment right there. There's no reason to punish people after they're out of prison. It really does. No. Once you get out of prison, the end. That should be it. You served your sentence, and you should be free to begin your life anew, to get your life back together. Part of getting your life back together is reenfranchisement. So at the very fucking least, that should be a nationwide law, in my opinion. As soon as you get out of prison, voting rights restored. Conservatives and Republicans don't like that because they want black people to not vote, and that's why they basically pass laws that throw black people in prison. Don't tell me that's not true, because it is. All you people, all you MAGA chuds and conservatives that have been showing up in my fucking comment section, don't try to even gaslight me into saying that's not the reason why they do this, because it is. It's to disenfranchise black people. So yeah, this makes me want to vote for fucking Kamala Harris even more. What other politician is even brave enough to even say that? Then they make it sound like, because if you even say that, it's like, oh, you're soft on crime. Well, they can't use the soft on crime approach with her, because she was a fucking, like, attorney general. She's like a top cop and shit. In fact, people on the left, some people on the left don't want to vote for her because she was an attorney general, and she would prosecute people for fucking drug possession, marijuana, stuff like that. As far as I know, Kamala Harris is anti-legalization of marijuana. It's like, oh, well, that might be a tick in the negative box against her, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna, like, vote for Trump over her. Fuck that. Joey Manorino? Is that how you pronounce this guy's name? A child molester appointed Kamala Harris to be vice president because her skin was dark enough to pretend she was black. The only thing she's ever achieved in life is mastering the art of deep-throating cock. I'll never vote for that shit as long as I live. I mean, I think this kind of embodies the conservative Republican response altogether. Got some racism in there. Pretend she was black. I mean, her father is, like, black. Okay, her mother was from India. Her father's black. Or, I don't know if she's from India, but she was, like, Southeast Asian. It's because she's not African American, because that's a specific definition. Her father was actually from the Caribbean. Her father was Afro-Caribbean, if I'm not mistaken. But still, growing up in this country, her skin is dark enough that she's black. Okay, that's just because we have a very kind of wonky definition of white and black in this country. To try to say that she doesn't have the shared black experience in America is just ridiculous. Of course she fucking does. So that's the first thing. That's an attack coming from Trump, which we'll come across a little bit later, where he's saying that she's not really black. The second one here is, of course, sexism. She's only ever achieved in life is mastering the art of deep-throating cock. And this is a thing that you've seen from the Republicans going all the way back to when she was running for Senate. Because, you know, she was a senator before she was the vice president. And the attack is essentially that she slept her way to the top, which there's no evidence for that. I think she dated Willie Brown or whatever, and then she became the attorney general. And then from there, she, like, ran for Senate. But here's the thing. You have to run for the Senate. Okay, no one can just appoint you to be the Senate. So whose dick did she suck to become a senator? That's bullshit. She had to actually win the race to be vice president. People had to vote for her and Joe Biden to be vice president. So whose dick did she suck? Did she go out and suck like 80 million people's dicks to vote for her? Is that how she became vice president? Fuck these people. Get the fuck out of my face, you fucking dickhead. Talking about sexism, I think the picture here is self-explanatory. This is within 24 hours of Biden dropping out and her taking up the mantle. This shit like this started appearing all over the internet. I mean, there you go, folks. So, yeah, in the coming months before the election, you're going to hear plenty of people on the right wing say that there were no sexist attacks against Kamala Harris. Don't believe they're gaslighting, folks. These are the kinds of people we're dealing with here. There's going to be people defending the sexism that's coming from the right wing and Donald Trump by saying that what they're doing is not sexist. Please just point out this little graphic to them. Okay, what do we got here? Unhinged Republican candidate calls Kamala Harris a little whore as GOP descends into misogyny. Let's see, this is an article from LGBTQ Nation. Republican Missouri Secretary of State candidate Valentina Gomez just went on an unhinged rant attacking Vice President Kamala Harris on X, where she called her a little whore as conservatives posted misogynist memes and jokes about Harris. Kamala Harris slept her way to the top, and Tulsi Gabbard already destroyed her and exposed her in 2020. Kamala is just another DEI hire. President Trump is going to eat her alive, she said in a video. Kamala Harris is a little whore, Gomez wrote when posting her video. Update, the X post was put on limited visibility by X on July 22nd, hours after this article was published. Gee, thanks. Limited visibility. How about fucking deleting it? Elon Musk, of course, he's not going to fucking delete it because he's an asshole. But there you go. I believe that this same representative in recent days, Valentina Gomez, actually made a post calling people the F slur, if I believe, over the Olympics. We might save that for another video. But yeah, here you go, folks. It's not just crazy people on Twitter and the internet using misogyny. It's actual GOP candidates for state office in this case. If you want to spread some of this misogyny yourself, you can always just get you a Joe and the Ho Gotta Go t-shirt. This is from True Patriot Supply Company. Joe and the Ho Gotta Go. $24.99. Of course, now that Joe Biden is not running anymore, they have changed that to just say no to the ho, vote Trump. I mean, I guess you gotta be able to adapt quickly. $7. At least this place on Etsy is like not ripping you off, because I don't know if I'd pay $7 for this piece of shit, but I definitely wouldn't pay $24.99. Here's Elon Musk on Twitter. Shyamala is an extinctionist. The natural extension of her philosophy would be a de facto holocaust for all of humanity. I don't know where this came from. Is it because she supports abortion? If I had to guess, that would be it. An extinctionist, though? You know what this is, folks? This is essentially the Great Replacement. That's what Elon Musk is doing. We can get into that on another time, but Elon Musk is a white supremacist. If you haven't figured that out yet, he definitely is. Moving on. When a man votes for a woman, he actually transitions into a woman. This dude is madder than he has ever been in his life. It's glorious. This is Jake Tapper, I believe. Let's go ahead and listen to what Jake Tapper has to say.
Now, I don't see why any man would vote Democrat. It's not the party of virtue, security. It's not the party of strength. It's definitely not the party of family. And to be a man and then vote for a woman just because she's a woman is either childish, that person has mommy issues, or they're just trying to be accepted by other women. And I heard the scientists say the other day that when a man votes for a woman, he actually transitions into a woman.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that's what the science says.
Science says that.
First off, I like how even his co-hosts on the Five there are not buying into his bullshit. Right at the very end, just, oh, that's what the scientists say. It's obviously a joke. Obviously a joke. I don't, but who knows with these fucking morons. Who knows, you might actually hear some fucking idiot like spreading this shit around like it's some scientific fact or whatever. That's the first thing. Second thing, just me voting for a woman, like, why does it have to be some kind of acceptance kind of thing? Like, can't I vote for a woman because she's a genuinely better candidate than the man? Because she has genuinely better stances on the issues I care about? Because she's genuinely more competent and will actually do the work? Instead of going and playing fucking golf, she's going to actually stay up and do the research and negotiate and do work and be prepared when she goes to meet with people like Putin and not just give them everything they fucking want like Donald Trump did. Can't I just vote for her for that reason? Why does there always have to be some kind of like, I don't know, like I'm simping for Kamala Harris? Are you fucking stupid? What, does Kamala Harris have a fucking OnlyFans channel or something I should be tuning into? It's the dumbest fucking shit ever. And it really proves that these guys don't have any shit on the shelf ready to go in order to fight back against Kamala. Their messaging is all fucked up now. They haven't congealed yet. You ever notice how conservatives and Republicans, they will all say the exact same shit, especially when it comes to pundits. They all say the exact same things. It's because they get their messaging from the same sources. And it really appears that this time they genuinely got caught with their pants down. They genuinely weren't ready for Kamala Harris. And so they're scrambling, coming up with all this stupid shit. Oh, she's an extinctionist. Oh, you turn into a woman if you vote for her. Get the fuck out of my face with this bullshit. It's the stupidest. It's really sad to see. It's sad to see, and it's good to remember, it's a good example to show that conservatives and Republicans, the Republican machine is not invulnerable. Every election we have, it really does seem like conservatives and Republicans and the GOP and the MAGA people, it really does seem like they're the ones who are always setting the agenda. We only talk about the shit they want to talk about. We never talk about healthcare or the environment or whatever. We always talk about whatever dumb fucking thing that they want to bring up, because they're very, very good at capturing the media and setting the agenda. And it really seems like this time they fucked that up. They're not able to actually set the agenda this time because they don't have their messaging ready to go. This is the first time I can remember this ever happening. I mean, even at the height of say Obama's candidacy, when everybody was excited about him and stuff like that, even then we were still subject to the GOP setting the agenda for the conversation, the political conversation in this country. And it's kind of refreshing to see what happens when these guys are not prepared. When people aren't basically just swallowing their stupid fucking talking points without thinking. It's good to see that happen. It's maybe we need to learn how to keep these assholes disoriented like this more often, right? A couple of more of these. Donald Trump, for his part, thinks he's still running against Joe Biden. Here's an article from The Independent. Trump demands equal time as he accuses networks of broadcasting slanderous January 6th committee. Former president's rant comes just hours before third public hearing from the Jan 6 committee. Donald Trump has hit out at TV news networks for broadcasting the hearings on the House Select Committee investigating the events surrounding the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. The former president took to his own social media platform, Truth Social, to complain about the hearings are low-rated, one-sided, and slanderous. Further, he demanded that he receive equal time to lay out a case for his unfounded allegations of voter fraud in the 2020 election. Well, I'm sorry, Donald Trump, you don't get equal time because the Republicans got rid of the fairness doctrine. You would have had equal time if Ronald Reagan didn't get rid of that, but now you don't. You know why? Because fuck you. You made this bed, now you get to lie in it. One more thing from Donald Trump. This was from his recent appearance for the, it was the Black Reporters organization. I can't remember the name of it. And let's see how he attacks Kamala Harris here.
Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of
Sir,
that.
I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me if you
I
would.
just defined it.
See, I would like to point out one thing. You notice how he just kept saying that over and over? The interviewer defined it for him, but he just kept saying, define it for me, and she defined it. She gave the exact definition of what it is. Diversity, equality, and inclusion. And, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And he's like, define it for me. Because that doesn't fit in with his pre-programmed line of attack on DEI. He's not prepared for someone who actually knows what they're talking about to actually respond correctly. And that's a tactic. That's a debate tactic. Where you just repeat the same thing, even if somebody responds to you correctly, in a way which should satisfy any rational person, you just keep asking the question over and over as if they haven't. What it does is that it plants doubt in the audience. So all the MAGA people at home now can be like, see, she couldn't even define it. When in real life, she actually really did. That's a debate tactic. And it kind of shows that Donald Trump is a fucking idiot who's not able to actually talk about the issues. He's only able to just like regurgitate shit that he's like been trained to say. But moving on.
Sir, do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe
think,
that
I think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really
have
don't know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are.
You also notice another little tactic he does. He said, when you asked in a nasty manner, that's the thing that Donald Trump always does, is that whenever he gets a question that could be critical of himself or critical of his stance, he always attacks. That's what he does. He attacks. I've never gotten this in such a nasty manner, blah, 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 blah. I've never gotten such a nasty question from that. So what network are you from? They're fake news, blah, blah. I have a lawsuit against CNN. That's what he does, because then he doesn't have to answer the question. Donald Trump doesn't actually answer anything when he talks. That's the first thing. Okay. And then you notice here how he doubled down on it. Please remember, he's in a room filled with black people. They're reporters, like African American Reporter Association. I can't remember exactly the name of the organization that they are, but that's where he's talking to. He's talking to an entire organization of reporters who are black. So he's going to sit here and he's going to attack a Kamala Harris for not being black enough. How do you think that's going to go over in this crowd? Another thing that everybody says is that Donald Trump is really good about reading the room. He's really good about, he's a natural showman and all this other stuff. No, he isn't. No, he isn't. He's only good with that kind of thing with people who are, like, obsessed with him. With his own people who will follow anything that he fucking says and make excuses for the dumb shit that he says. He's great with those guys. He's great, like the MAGA fucking people who basically, they delude themselves into thinking that he's smart. He's great with them because he could say any kind of dumb fucking shit he wants, and they'll, like, imagine in their heads that he's this, like, elder statesman. He's like fucking Abraham Lincoln. Like, he's like this elder statesman giving, like, this marvelous fucking speech. When in real life, he's just a fucking moron. So that's his line of attack. Kamala Harris wasn't really black. And if you go on Twitter right now, if you go on Facebook, if you go on all of the seedier parts of the internet, like the Donald.win and shit like that, people are regurgitating the shit that he says. Because Donald Trump says it, that must mean it's okay to say it. It's the dumbest fucking shit ever. And it's no wonder that Kamala Harris is now mopping the fucking floor with Trump. She is. And you know something? Good. I really want her to win now. I really, really want her to win because it'll piss these fuckers off so much. But not only that, I mean, I want her to win because it'll be great for the country. It'll be like the better choice for the country. Kamala Harris is not my first choice to be president, but she's a much better choice than fucking Donald Trump. And actually, to be honest, she's a much better choice than Joe Biden was either. I think it's great. I think it's great that we actually have a candidate now that we don't have to worry about her dying of a heart attack or passing away in their sleep or selling us out to the Russians or fucking turning the country into a dictatorship. It's nice that we actually have somebody worth voting for. Even if she's not 100% perfect in every single way that I would like, I'm fine with it. I think it's good. I think she'll do a great job And if I didn't think that, I wouldn't have voted for her in 2020. Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.